Yes.
Yep. All right. So today's code of conduct topic is respect the property of others. Ben?
Yeah, it's anything from your coworker's lunch to the driveway that we don't want to turn our stuff around in, to the lawn that we leave excess materials on, kind of speaks for itself. Kind of treat other people's property the way you would want to be treated yourself. We're always working on someone else's property or near it.
Mm-hmm. Come on, move forward.
Slow this morning, huh? There it goes.
Yeah. So we've had 142 days without a recordable, so keep that up. We're doing good. But we've only had 2 days without a first aid injury, so we had a worker get some metal filings in the eye. So make sure you have the proper eye protection on and things like that. So keep your eyes safe. You only get 2 of them. Today I'm going to talk a bit about mobile elevated work platform. What most people call it is a man lift. So some hazards that are associated with the man lift are falls. Even though you're in a basket with railings and you're pretty protected, you're usually not working within the basket. You're usually working outside of it on something you're trying to reach. So that's why you got to have your harness on, things like harness on, lanyard, attached to the proper manufactured fall protection hook on point. You gotta watch out for falling objects, whether it's you in the basket, making sure you're not knocking things off or knock things out. Use lanyards on tools and materials if possible. Make sure anyone that is working below you isn't working right under you, and they also have proper hard hat on and PPE, in case something does happen. Tip rovers, so they all have a weight limit, and they're usually about 500 to 600 pounds. Some are only for one person, so those are about 300 or so. But good rule is never have more than 2 people up in a lift. And then if you have materials with you, you got to think about that, because you're probably going to exceed the weight limit if you have 2 people and materials in there. So that's one thing you should take into account when you're working on things, not exceeding that limit. Don't, when you tie off, make sure you're tying off to that point in the man basket made for it. Make sure you don't tie off to anything outside of the basket, because if something happened and that structure or whatever you're working on collapses, well, you're attached to that. You're going right with it. So make sure you're tying off inside the basket. Don't get within, make sure you have your proper clearances away from power lines. If it's a regular 50 kilovolt power line or kilowatt, whatever it is, 10 feet. And then, as it gets more powerful, 25 feet. And then after that, you got to have the power company come in and, see what you're doing. Entanglement, make sure you don't have a lot of stuff in the basket that you can get tangled in, tripped on, things like that. And then finally, ejections from lift. So the harness you're wearing isn't necessarily just to keep you from falling from lift. It's to keep you inside the basket from getting ejected. And I've got a short video here on next slide for you, just to show you what happens. when you go over a small bump, that energy on the wheels doesn't seem like a lot, but with that lever and basket there, it's going to translate to a lot to the worker. Here we go.
Oh,
Yeah, that's why you wear that's why you want to have fall protection in the lift, even if you're only 5 feet off the ground.
That's the primary
so-
reason. Really.
Yeah. So make sure you're trained properly and you know how to use the lift. You know, contact safety, and we can come down and go through the user manual, all that, and show you how it works and train you on that. But make sure that you might have that little card saying you're trained, but you're obviously trained, but not a professional at using it. So ask people questions, and if someone does ask you for a hand and you are experienced in this, don't just blow them off. Give them a few pointers, help them out. And we all started somewhere, so help out other people. So the best practices are use your fall protection, have the correct lanyards for it. So we ideally want to use self-retractable, but there are other lanyards you can use that aren't breakaway. So when you fall on them, they won't extend to like 8 feet or something like that. But if you have a question about that, we can help you. Make sure you're standing firmly on the floor. Don't stand on the railings or anything like that. Never do that. If you can't reach something, reposition the lift. Don't stand on the railings. Only tie off on the manufactured points for fall protection, and don't tie off to adjacent structures. When you're operating traveling, don't exceed the weight limit. Don't exceed the vertical and horizontal reaches. Keep away from the overhead power lines, and do not override safety devices. A lot of them have a pedal you have to press to operate it. Don't put a brick or something on that pedal, things like that. And then keep on level ground at all times. These things do tip over, not easily, but if they're on a side hill or something, they're gonna tip over easily. So that's all I have today.
Okay. Thanks, Austin. I'll take over here.
something that, well, Ken's doing that. Something to add, Austin, is on a lot of our job sites, we have equipment and we've got materials, so we can level, we can do temporary leveling of areas to work on these platform, work with this equipment.
Exactly.
Some contractors, they might not, but we do, so we should do it if we can.
Yeah.
Right, make sure it's firm. I think
Yeah.
your safety overrides may help you even if you're not perfectly level, but if they give out from under
Yeah.
you, then that's the problem.
For sure.
Okay, slide this up. All right, announcements. We have Morgan Stanley Financial Advisors coming again on October 1st. That's the Friday after next, so a couple weeks. Is that right? No, it's next Friday. Wow. It must be next Friday. Actually, the date doesn't sound right, does it?
No.
29th is next Friday.
Yeah, okay. So
Yeah.
it's the 29th.
I
I
think
just copied it from what I was given.
Yep, I think they've got
but
the wrong date.
Yep. But I'll double check. So next week I'll have it clarified in the email, and certainly if you're looking to sign up, check with Melanie anyway. And just a reminder that, whoops, I'm dragging everything with me. I got also add my photos. Let me add the pictures and download the pictures. There we go. Zoom that back out. So a reminder that the from see, I think Phil gave me this reminder yesterday. When submitting a fuel log in Teams with a repair request, please add the equipment number or description. And then also the new vehicle and equipment fuel cards are in as they have been. Please see Sarah and note that the current cards expire at the end of September. So we're almost there. And for other announcements, ECI attends the Associated General Contractor the 2023 National and Chapter Leadership Conference in Washington, D.C. And I attended with a few other people. There were introductions. We had a lot of seminars and workshops and panel discussions. And it's Richard Wabi from Vermont AGC in the panel. They're visiting the congressional delegation offices. This is Becca Bolin's office. That's Jason Seacard signing in with me taking the picture. The other one. This was an award that we received from the national group for our chapter, and then we're touring the mall on some bicycles. And so we were represented by myself, Jason Seacard, who's vice president, John Casella, second vice president, Matt Musgrave from the AGC Vermont, and Richard Wabi from AGC. And we extended all this stuff. It was good time, good networking, and great to see a high profile for Vermont, because we are certainly recognized in the group. And then also this week, ECI attends a risk control workshop for National Contractors Insurance in Denver. So we have Tom and Matt are there this week. I don't know if either of those guys made it on this morning. Whoops.
It's like 3:42 there, so maybe not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know when they left. I think yesterday was their last day, so they might even
Traveling today.
sometimes when I've gone out to that far out, you take a red eye back, so you don't arrive until now on the East Coast.
Yep.
So the safety focus workshop, it was attended by Matt and Tom. Presentation included topics like how to empower the front line to take safety personally, and the prepared construction athlete. Several panel discussions again, and active workshop activities. I'm never good at those workshop activities. But
me neither.
they put you through the ringer sometimes, and I'm like, huh? What am I supposed to do? So since 2019, we've been a member of NCI. It's a contractor captive insurance company for workers' comp, auto, general liability, and captives are a cooperative type of business insurance where each member is a shareholder of the company. The top focus of NCI, a 260 member organization, is employee safety. And other local Vermont companies in NCI include FR Lafayette, Omega, and Vermont Mechanical. So there's 4 of us. I have a link to the ECI Primary Care Wellness Plan. Please check it out if you're not involved and not enrolled. And this week we're talking about the Burlington Telecom South Union Street, Main Street crossing. And I think, Tom, you're going to be the narrator and the presenter here, right?
Yep, I'll talk through it, and I'll go through the narrative somewhat
Okay, do you
quickly,
want me to advance the slides, or do you want to take over?
No, you can advance it, Ken. That'd be fine. So,
Okay.
Yeah, so ECI was contracted by Burlington Telecom to install fiber optic conduit. The project was to accommodate the future planning of the Memorial Auditorium, which has been unused for a while, but the final plans, the city's weighing its options now. I don't think there's a final plan in place yet. But as part of its purchase agreement with the city, Burlington Telecom was required to relocate all their fiber termination points and switchgear from Memorial Auditorium to their home office at 200 Church Street. On a side note, Carter and I were able to go into the switchgear room on Church Street, and it's an amazing amount of work that they've got to do to get all that out of there. It's a ton of gear in there. So, and it's the same on Memorial Auditorium as well. The scope of work included installing 3 4-inch conduits from the intersection of College and South Union Streets along the west side of the city block of South Union Street, crossing Main Street and connecting to a power pole in front of the Edmonds Elementary School. At that point, the fiber is going to run aerial to the Church Street offices. Our initial plan was to install the conduits for the entire length by directional drill. The Main Street corridor contains, as everyone can imagine, multiple large precast vault structures for power and communication, as well as gas, power, water, septic, and stormwater piping, all at varying elevations. We put a couple of days into exploratory, and after completing our exploratory to confirm elevations, we had one option, and that was to go under everything at 14 feet below grade. The final bore for the 3 4-inch pipes would require a 16-inch ring hole, and that elevation allowed us to safely get through there with some clearance of everything. However, as we started boring down South Union and approached Main Street, we were only able to get to 11 feet deep and encountered an obstruction that stopped the advancement of our bore. We believed it to be rock. We never actually excavated to that depth at that location. We changed our plan instead, and basically raised the elevation and drilled all the way down College Street to Main Street at about, I think, about 6 feet deep in some locations. We had to kind of go up and down around quite a few things there, but higher elevation along that section. While drilling this portion, we encountered a stone drain system. There's some great pictures coming up here in a second that we drilled through. This became quickly evident as a sinkhole appeared above our bore path. The drain system was made from red rocks and fit together without mortar. It had wood timber bottom, and it crossed South Union Street between Memorial Auditorium and the Congregational Church, which is the beautiful church right on the corner of College Street. The drain system predates city records. We had the city out there. They had no idea what it was, and the best guess was that it ties into the old ravine sewer. After we fully exposed both sides of the drain and were able to assess the damage and make a game plan on how to repair the drain, we were able to take the capstones off the drain, and P&P came in and backed out silt that had gotten in there and our bore gel when we went through it as best as possible. We then raised our bore in the bored in pipes over the drain system and then reconstructed the drain with more conventional brick and mortar on the uprights, and then reused the large red rock stones to cap the drain. And then the balance of the project was to cut across Main Street. We had a simple lane shift traffic control plan that Austin and his team put together for us. We were able to cut half the road at a time. On the very first day, we encountered a piece of wood that looked literally like a 4x4, an old 4x4 timber, crossing the trench. No dig safe marks near anything in that area to indicate it was anything other than a piece of wood. We cut the timber out of the way to continue digging, and when we did that, it turned out to be an old wooden air-dried conduit with a lead-jacketed cable inside. The line was owned by Consolidated Communications. They've got their hub right in that vicinity, right on that corner. So they came in and made the repair on that, and we continued our work. We then completed the remainder of the road cut over the next 2 days, working past many utilities to complete the install. Underground boxes were installed at the base of power poles on each end of the project, and the conduit was installed from the boxes and swept up the poles. And this project, asphalt and concrete crews did a great job because they were needed quickly. Jimmy and his guys were out there because we had to put hot mix down every day. So if you want to advance through the pictures, I can kind of give you a little more narrative here. So this is Roger digging, and can you slide it up a little bit, Ken?
Yep, there we go. I see. It's a long picture.
Yeah, it's basically this repair we could have done with one simple excavation, but we had to bring in dual boxes and double the length of the excavation because, as it would have it, you see Carter's down there with that capstone. Right on his shoulder is a 2-inch gas main, so there's gas right directly over the top of it, which made the excavation a little bit more difficult. But we worked around that, supported the gas, and then this is prior to the repair being complete. And there's our bored pipes that bored through the culvert. Next picture.
Yep. Let's see.
So here's getting, this is the pipes now over the culvert, getting ready for backfill. There's another picture. I think the next one shows it even a little better.
These in right order, I hope.
We'll get around. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, that's fine. And this is the area of the excavation. You see those gas valves, those stand-ups there are access points. One was for tracer wire, I believe, but bottom line is we are right in that area, and this is getting ready for asphalt.
There we go. That's probably what you're looking for.
Yeah, exactly. So this shows the storm culvert that was man-made prior to putting the cap on it, and our pipes being lifted over the top of it to allow for that work.
There it is. That's the old
That's a sewer
trench, huh?
line.
The old, oops. I'm sorry.
There.
I'm kind of
Okay.
accidentally dragging things around here.
Yeah.
Too much.
So this picture,
So-
I think is great. Go ahead. Yeah.
That one right there?
This one right here. So this doesn't show any of our damage that we basically drilled through these sidewalls. But Carter took pictures down this storm culvert. So I would guess this is probably a 100-year-old structure, whoever made it, but it was really quite nice work. All stone, no mortar, in great shape. In the city's final conclusion, even though they came out, said we have no idea where this goes, but we better fix it because it probably goes somewhere and does something for somebody. That was kind of the conclusion, and it was a nice bit of work. It's really in great shape. So, okay,
Very
next photo.
interesting.
It was kind of cool. We didn't see that coming, that's for sure. So here we are getting ready to pull we had 3 4-inch conduits, so we had 3 real trailers. This is at the corner of Main and South Union, getting ready to pull in down South Union. And the next picture shows the drill in position at the College Street location that will ultimately receive these 3 conduits right here. The mud truck with it. Here's some of this kind of is a nice picture, and it shows the utilities. This is during the open cut process, but if you can just imagine down to that 14-foot elevation, this is what we were dealing with at every elevation of some sort. And there's a big storm and a big sewer pipe in the middle of the road, all kinds of power and duct banks. So lot of work, and thank God we used HDPE here to go up and down and around. As you can see, it was not a simple traditional open excavation, put a piece of pipe in the ground. So.
Yeah.
This is if anybody wants to see this, I keep this in my office here, but this is the piece of pipe that they cut through. I have no idea even how to age this. It's probably not as old as I think because it had a cable inside of it, but that's what they were looking at. It looked like an old 4x4 beat up timber, and I think any one of us would have probably taken the same steps and just cut it right out. And obviously, as you can see, it's got a pipe configuration, and there was a cable in there owned by Consolidated that wasn't critical. It was literally servicing periwinkles, but it was servicing their security system. So they wanted to get it up and running quickly, but nobody lost communications during this process. But there was a short downtime for a security system alarm warning. So.
And no diamond heist, I guess, either. Huh?
Not that's been made public anyway. I was out of town that day. This is finishing the set, continuing to come across Main Street. As mentioned, we did half the road at a time.
It's going to add another obstruction for the upcoming Great Streets project that was bid last week.
Yeah, this actually had to go under review because we were planning on being here about a month earlier. And when I submitted for the permit, they said, nope, not issuing the permit until they got clearance from the Great Street project to make sure it wasn't hindering that project. But ultimately we moved ahead. But yeah, everything that you just saw, everybody just saw, that's what whoever's going to dig down Main Street is going to deal with on that Great Street project. It's not going to be an easy project.
It'll be tough.
Yeah, for sure. Picture shows a nice asphalt job. And the asphalt guys had seems like every day we were there was pouring rain, and it fought us. The whole summer's been that way for everybody. No news there, but anyway, they did a great job with that. And this is both boxes that we located were really close to the powers we were jumping onto, so we didn't have a lot of open digging. This one shows it really nicely. It's right there to accept the short sweeps without any piping.
Yep.
Doesn't always happen that way. There's Ethan Coda showing the final tie-ins.
Right to the box. Yep.
Right to the box. And I believe now
nice.
Burlington Telecom has pulled their fiber in, and that project is underway as far as getting all that switchgear moved out.
Cool. And from the project archives.
Yeah, I see this again, and I was obviously not here at 2006, but I think just knowing the trenchless world, I've been in it for about 30 years now. I would just comment that I think in this area, ECI was, I think, the first to have actual directional drills, weren't you? We were out doing other stuff, pipe ramming and boring and auger boring, but as far as directional drills, yeah.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, we started getting into it when we did the AT&T project on the railroad back in 1998. We got our first drill.
Yep. And I'm not sure which drill this is or which operator this is. I didn't recognize him.
No,
Wade,
it's
is that
like
John Wade? Or not?
I didn't think it was
No,
John
well,
Wade.
that
'Cause I know
could be. Yep.
It's not. Maybe.
doesn't look it. It could be. It's hard to tell.
So good.
So
All right.
that's
Well,
the story.
thank you, Tom.
Yep.
I guess I'll turn it back over to Austin today, and everyone have a safe day out there.
I want to grab you
Alright.
one thing quick.
Yes.
Earlier this week, there was a pretty terrible accident. One of our coal companies in Vermont, PC, they lost a worker. He went to work and got started early and didn't make it home. In that accident was totally unexpected, I guess. And it's just keep that family and that company in your thoughts and prayers and make sure that we all go home safe, because I'm sure that was something that was totally unexpected on that job site, because they work really hard over there to try to maintain a lot of safety practices. So it's just awful. It should make us all really try to think about the unexpected happening. It could happen to us.
Yep.
So
Look at the possibilities of any situation and try to figure out how to avoid the worst outcome.
yeah.
Yeah, I think I was gonna say something about that. Yeah, next week we're gonna kind of, when we have a better view of what happened, gonna go through what happened, and I think that'll be good for next week's meeting. So,
Yep.
but
So,
yeah,
okay.
everyone be safe out there today. Yeah, be aware of your surroundings, and send me a message or an email if you watched in a group setting, and everyone have a good day.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.